So welcome everybody to BrewDog Waterloo. It's an absolute pleasure to be back here again for the Aforza Employee Insight Series. Welcome Mark Dunn, our new VP of Sales. Absolute pleasure to be with you today, and we're going to be talking about the subject of the value of focus and really how Aforza is completely focused on the consumer goods industry.
Great to be here.
Fantastic. I'm really looking forward to it. And so let's kick off by maybe introducing yourself, your role at Aforza, and a bit about your background.
Sure. So, been brought into the business, as you said, as VP of Sales for EMEA. So the goal for me is really to help scale the organisation, to build a team that we can lay a foundation for scaling and growing the business.
Fantastic.
Really excited. Amazing opportunity to be able to do that. So excited to get started.
And how long has it been now?
So I've been in the business now for just over 2 months.
Right.
Whirlwind induction
Feels
into
longer,
all things
right?
Aforza. It does feel longer. Yeah, there's definitely a really healthy level of intensity and professionalism and focus in the business, which I'm really thriving on.
Fantastic. Yeah, never a dull day. And what were you doing beforehand?
So I spent the best part of 15 or so years in the Salesforce ecosystem.
Okay.
I've worked at two great businesses and learnt loads through both. So first role was at New Voice Media, and I started as an SDR. Telesales in those days.
Yep.
And had a few different roles, including a solution engineering role, and then ended up running a region, UK, Ireland, and the Nordic region for New Voice Media before an exit to Vonage. And then I joined a business called Conga, again in the Salesforce ecosystem, big Salesforce partner, great business, and was there for 3.5 years running the EMEA North region. So both learned loads at both, and some skills that I can apply to Aforza, definitely.
And a lot of focus in the Salesforce space, which you must enjoy.
Very much so. I've always felt that through New Voice Media, which was a journey where we got onto the Salesforce platform, and then at Conga, I've always found that customers of Salesforce are ones that are trying to change their organization for the better. They are trying to deliver competitive advantage. They're using technology to enable their businesses to grow, to drive efficiency, to be more effective. And I think it's a very positive conversation, irrespective of whatever.
Quite progressive.
Part of digital transformation you're in. And that's really interesting and exciting to someone that's curious about business, irrespective of the industry, really curious about business and what makes them tick, what makes them successful. And so staying in that ecosystem or staying in an environment where I can talk to businesses that have that objective was high up on the list for me.
Gotcha. And you've always, just for the first couple of months of knowing you, there's always been a focus with you on value and really delivering that value. And I guess that ties in well with the selling in the Salesforce ecosystem space. Yeah,
absolutely. I think if you look at any successful implementation, from a technology perspective, it's a partnership and it's long-term value. It's not just about getting a solution in and going live and then walking away to the next customer.
Yep.
It's about long-term value creation, supporting that business to continually get value from the solution you're offering, and that includes a massive part of that is the people within our business to offer value to our customers.
Yep.
It's a huge part. You want to know that you've done a good job and you've made an impact to your customers.
Absolutely. So, a long successful career in the Salesforce ecosystem. What brought you to Aforza? What kind of interested you to come here?
I think, so certainly the track record of the people in the business, really impressive group of people. Obviously yourself, Andy, very at the top of that list.
Thank you.
An amazing track record of building and scaling businesses.
Yep.
And that gave me real confidence about the organisation and the mission. That the industry focus was big for me. And if you look at, again, the people in the business, the people in the board, they have success at creating industry organisations, solving very specific problems in a specific industry. And what I'd noticed, and one of the things that I wanted to develop for my own sales career, the next stage of my career was having worked in organizations where we've offered a horizontal solution, massive market, could address particular problems in different industries for different businesses. What I wanted to do was, what I was seeing in the market is organizations, customers are looking for that partnership that I mentioned earlier, and they're looking for partners and suppliers, vendors to lead them and to help deliver expertise and guidance in their industry and their field.
Yep.
I think that's very difficult to do unless you've got a very specific mandate, and being focused on consumer goods was something of great interest because it does give us that focus. And also from an industry perspective, consumer goods is something I'm genuinely interested in.
It's exciting, right? It's
Yeah,
never a dull day.
absolutely. Kind of grew up in the countryside, always interested in kind of farming and agriculture to an extent. And so, understanding how the cows in the field, how you get the products, from point of production through to a shelf in a bottle at the right price with the right promotion,
Yep.
and everything that happens in between. That's a really complicated process. And just that interest has evolved, and so learning more about that has been really interesting. And so those things really kind of created a really what I think is a great opportunity at Aforza.
Absolutely. And 2 months in, even just hearing you there reel off the price, promotion, product placement, how you enjoying it in the consumer goods industry and that kind of focus?
Yeah, but massively so. Really enjoying getting out and seeing the customers. Yep. Spent some really good time in Portugal with Heineken Novidis and Sumol Compal, and that was fantastic to be in the room with them.
Makes a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it was such a strategic and fundamental part of their business that they really see us as partners. They're helping drive the roadmap. We're helping them with what they should think about and do next in their industry. So that's fantastic. We've had some great dinners. I've met a lot of prospects, really interesting companies from, the largest multinational consumer goods businesses down to, kind of 5 or 10 person, sort of more niche but specific artisan producers. So, huge range, really interesting, loads of energy, just, thoroughly enjoying it.
Fantastic. And I think that nicely dovetails now with the next question, which was, really about, you talked about meeting those customers, large and small. What are the sorts of, the trends and the challenges that you're seeing them up against in the industry today?
I think, consistently across conversations with customers and with prospects that I've seen over the last 2 months, and it's across every industry is under pressure.
Yep.
Whether it's inflation, supply chain, margins, there is huge pressure across industry. And I think for consumer goods businesses, trying to work out how and where to invest in order to protect margin, in order to grow, in order to deliver on an efficiency or an effective program, it is a real challenge for them. I think within consumer goods, the market has been relatively poorly served from a technology perspective historically. There have been solutions that have done a good job, but in very discrete or specific areas.
Quite niche, right? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, quite niche. And I think the challenge that consumer goods organisations have faced is that that niche problem that's been solved has created these silos and pockets of a business. And often I think technology is an enabler for transformation. When you're looking at a transformation program, digital transformation, it forces you to think about process and people and the current way of operating. And it forces you to reevaluate whether that's the right way to do things or whether there is a different way that could drive efficiency or make us more successful. I think what Aforza offers is a broader platform that's going to enable these businesses to reevaluate a process and effectively implement a new process or a new way of working to drive that efficiency. Yep. And that's the conversation we're getting into, and that's a very interesting one. It's driving and leading the customer to reevaluate the way they've operated.
Yeah. And I think if you think back to your Salesforce experience, I think it's that industry focus and that out-of-the-box functionality allows them to get going today and do what they need to do. But I think that platform approach means they're future-proof, right? They've got something that they can invest in and take forward. And I know you've said it before, but that's ever so important.
Yeah, absolutely. Need to invest, need to see it as a partnership, need to see that there is a vision for the platform. And markets are changing all the time. So it's a very difficult dynamic for consumer goods businesses to be successful in. And so having a partner they can rely on that is only focused on consumer goods is going to support them. We should be an extended arm of their own organisation.
Absolutely.
And help them. I think if you look at the transformation we're trying to support our customers to deliver, it requires consensus across multiple stakeholder groups. Again, that's not easy to do. There's the technology part of it, but there's the process and the change management, and there's adoption, and there's a ton of different things that can, once successfully delivered, deliver amazing results, competitive advantage. We can support with that because we understand and know it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, with all of that, you talked about the sort of challenges that customers are up against now. These are uncertain times. There's no getting away from it. What would you say for a customer that almost knows they need to change? They know they need to do something, about their business and their systems and their processes, but they're nervous, they're risk averse. Any advice from, working with the customers and seeing them out in the field?
Yeah, I think the first thing, my advice would be is to explore what change could impact, what positively could be impacted in your business from change or transformation.
So
easy for me to say.
Have that sight on it, right?
Yeah, and there are certain things they can do. They can work with consultants that are in the space. We work very closely with a number of consultants and SIs in the industry that are, again, specifically focused on consumer goods, and they can bring a perspective. They can come and talk to us. We run transformation workshops where we get under the skin of the current process. What would changing that process look like? How could our technology support that? Drive cost out of the business, increase order capture, drive greater efficiency or effectiveness around a promotion campaign. So I think exploring that is the first thing to do, and getting an external perspective, I would say, is the right approach.
Key step, right, to then have confidence in going forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. And then it's, from a couple of months in, maybe from a customer perspective, it might seem like an obvious question, but it's always nice to get that kind of fresh view on it. But what benefits have you been most excited and surprised about that customers are seeing from using an industry-specific solution from Aforza?
Yeah, I'm not going to say I think again, because I've said that a lot. What I've noticed is that consumer goods businesses have very specific challenges within their industry and specific opportunities. And those are, COVID-19 has driven some challenges within the industry, supply chain. We ordered a table to come for Christmas, so we could fit 10 or 12 people around the table because we're hosting this year. And we placed the order due to come end of November. That's now changed to end of December. So we've cancelled that order. And it wasn't, a crazily expensive table, but it was a very significant purchase and one that we did consider very closely before saying, we'll go for it. And we've cancelled because it's not going to be here for Christmas. That was the kind of compelling event for us to get it. So we'll just repaint my wife's parents' old table and stick that in, and it'll do for the time being. So I think that's an example of kind of supply chain pressures, and that's a big loss of sale for that particular business. So things like supply chain, things like consumers wanting to use the channel of their choice. The pandemic, I think, drove things like buy online, collect in store, and other other e-commerce channels. But the traditional channels are still the most important in terms of sales value, sales order. So it's a very complex environment in which consumer goods businesses have to operate at both ends, at the selling end and at the supply chain production end. So unless you are waking up every day thinking about consumer goods like we are, unless you've got a team of people that have come from the industry, that have worked in the industry for 20 years and come across these problems, or you're building a platform specifically for that industry with those challenges in mind, I don't really understand how you could solve those problems or have a conversation that delivers value back to that customer or prospect, because you're going to end up having a generic conversation and not specific.
Absolutely. I think that goes right back to the first question we asked, why did you want to come here? And I think you've nicely dovetailed back to that. Like, we live and breathe those challenges and we can truly solve them. And I think that really does make a difference at Aforza.
Definitely. And it's these are challenges, these are problems that are important in society, because if we're able to support the consumer goods organisations to manage their operation in a more efficient and effective way. That will lead to, hopefully, maybe a better price for the consumer.
Yep.
It'll lead to a better experience for the consumer. Shelves will be stocked with the product they want to purchase at the right price with the right promotion. So, these things, it proliferates across, the experience that a consumer gets from our customer.
Yeah. And I think, like anything, there's winners and losers in all of this. Your example of the table, I mean, if you think back to just the fast-moving consumer goods, I think if something's not there, it opens up a door for competition, right? And you can't get the brand you buy every day. You buy the next one. And I think, like we said, there's winners and losers in all of this.
Absolutely. I've never switched back from the variety of chips that we now have at home because they were out of stock once. We bought some other ones, and they're delicious.
Yeah.
So it's it's a proper problem.
Yep, absolutely, and one we're here to solve. So
indeed.
So thanks, Mark. So look, the last question I'd love to just to round out with here is being 2 months in, what advice or words of wisdom would you give to somebody looking at Aforza, maybe in a sales role and thinking about joining?
Well, interesting question, because I've been doing a lot of interviewing. We're growing and scaling the team, which is a really exciting place to be. We are looking to lay the foundation, as I said right at the start of the conversation, for what the future success at Aforza looks like.
Yep.
So the opportunity to come in and join a team where we haven't got absolutely everything mapped out. We have a blueprint for what success looks like, but we need people to come in and help expand that blueprint, that are curious, that have high energy, high professionalism, that can help drive the business. People that are focused and motivated on making a difference.
Make their mark, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There is, and I think that there is a certain level of camaraderie that you only get when you join a business of a certain size. That's something that has always been important to me, and I thrive on. I thrive on knowing that the contribution I'm making is having a direct impact on the success of the business, and that everybody from the guys and girls developing the platform and coding through to the customer success team that are supporting customers on implementation and post-go live support, to marketing, to everyone in the business, everybody feels that win, everybody feels the new release, everybody feels that case being answered. So if you've got the mindset of wanting to really contribute, make a difference, from a sales perspective, earn well, you're curious about an industry, you want to drive that knowledge and professionalism, then this is a great place to be. I couldn't think of a better place to be.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mark. And I mean, what better way to end than that? Mark, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for coming in and talking to us today. And, for anyone listening now, this is the Aforza Employee Insight Series. Please subscribe to the blog below, and we'll continue to push these out across the business. Wish you a great day and look forward to the holidays. So thanks, Mark, and thanks again.
Thanks, Andy. Cheers. Bye-bye.